Good morning, students. Today we will begin with the module number 5. It is first beginning with the mechanical cam operated sequencers and shift registers. Right. Then later in the second half of the module 5, we will be discussing about the SCADA part, supervisory control and data acquisition system. Here, mechanical cam operated sequencer. This is nothing but the motor which drives the series of cams. So you can see here there is a motor which is driving a series of cams. Then these cams they have contacts, right? They have leaf contacts. These are called as leaf contacts. And when these contacts come in contact with the cam, the circuit gets closed, and the load which is connected that will be driven by the that is output of the cam. Okay, so this is how whenever the leaf contact comes in contact with the cam, there is a closing of the contacts. So the contacts which are open initially, they become closed, and that is used to provide the output to the that is a load. Okay, so these are how the mechanical cam operated sequencers are operated. So these are the structures or the devices which provide the sequence of operations. They are meant to provide the sequence of operations. So the sequencing is done using these cam operated mechanical sequencers. Then in the next part, we are looking into the mechanical drum operated sequencer switch. This is the mechanical drum operated sequencer switch. Here again, there is a motor which is driving the drum. On these drums, there are what are called as a pegs. And when these pegs come in contact with the normally open switches, the contacts become closed. And wherever it is closed contact, that is indicated as 1. And wherever the pegs does not come in contact with the NO switches, so these round dots what you are seeing, they are the peg structures. When they do not come in contact with the NO switches, that is considered as the open condition or the zero condition. As you can see here, for the 4 steps, right? For the first condition, it is 4, 3, 2, 1. This is 0. There is no peg here. There is no peg. There is no peg. And in the first step, there is a peg. So this is indicated by 0001. So this is 0, 0, 0. Then this is one state. This is the one state. Then if we come to the next row here, next column, so this is 1011. So it is written as 1011. So this is the equivalent sequencer data table for the mechanical drum operated sequencer switch, right? So this is how these mechanically drum operated sequencer switches work. Next we'll see what are called as the sequencer instructions. PLC sequencer instructions, they replace the mechanical drum sequencer instructions, and these PLC sequencer instructions are more flexible as compared to that of the mechanical drum sequencer instructions. That is the advantage of using the PLC sequencer instructions, wherein if we want to control 16 discrete outputs, that can be done using a single sequencer instruction with only one ladder run. But if we employ or if we use the mechanical drum sequencer instructions, then it may require more number of mechanical drum sequencer instructions to operate 16 discrete outputs, or on off 16 discrete outputs they have to be operated. Then it may require many such mechanical drum sequencer instructions. The programmed sequences can perform the same specific on or off patterns of outputs that are continuously repeated with the drum switch, but with more flexibility. Flexibility is more in with the sequencer instructions in PLCs. Sequencer instructions simplify the ladder program by allowing to use a single instruction or pair of instructions to perform complex operations. Using a single PLC sequencer instruction or a pair of sequencer PLC instructions, complex operations can be performed. But if the same complex operation has to be performed by the mechanical drum sequencer instructions, then it becomes difficult to use the mechanical drum sequencer instructions. For the Allen Bradley line of controllers, sequencer commands include the following. It is SQO sequencer output. This is an output instruction that uses a file to control various output devices. So this SQO is a sequencer output. It's an output instruction uses a file and it is you meant to control the output devices. Similarly, we have SQI, sequencer input. It is an input instruction that compares bits from an input file with the bits in the source. The bits in the input file are compared with the bits in the source, and that comparison operation is performed by this sequencer input command, SQI command. So these are the various commands used by the sequencer instructions. You will have to remember these commands which may be asked in examination. The instruction history for all pairs of bits are the same. This SQI instruction becomes true if all the bits compared from the input file to the source file are same. Then we have SQC, sequencer compare instruction. It is also an output instruction that compares bits from an input source file to the bit which is in the sequence file. The bits in the source file are compared with the bits in the sequence file. That comparison is performed by the sequence compare instruction, which is an output instruction. If all pairs of bits are the same, then a bit in the control register is set to 1. If all the bits in the input source file are identical or same as the bits in the sequence file, there are two files. One is source file, another one is a sequence file. Right? If the bits in the input file, when they are compared with the bits in the sequence file, both are same, then the control register is set to 1. Let us see in detail what is a source, what is a sequence file, right? What is destination, that will come to know later, that I will be discussing here. Sequencer load SQL, it is an output instruction used to capture the reference conditions. That is, it goes through the operating sequences. The machine goes through operating sequences. So to capture one of those operating sequences, the instruction that is used is, or the command that is used is sequencer load. So this sequencer load SQL is used to load the sequence file from the input source module. It transfers the data, or it loads the data into the sequence file from the input source. That loading operation is done by the SQL command, that is sequencer load command. So this is what you are seeing is the sequencer output block, SQO block, sequencer output block. Here you have various operations: file operation, mask operation, destination, control, length, and position. Right? We'll see what are these individually. What is a file? What is mask? Right? What is position? What is enable bit? What is done bit? Fine. So the above figure is an example of SQO, that is sequencer output instruction. The SQO instruction reads data file elements one at a time. It is reading the data from the file, input file, then it applies the mask. We know by now what is a mask, right? If we apply the mask to the input data, wherever the mask bits are 1, the input bits are passed to the destination, and wherever the bits are 0, it is blocking the passing of the input bits to the destination. This is the function of the mask. Parameters that may be required to be entered in sequencer instructions are as follows. First is the file. This is the starting address for the registers in the sequencer file. This is the starting address where for the registers in the sequencer file. The sequencer file, the starting address is provided by this file. The file contains the data. This file also contains the data that will be transferred to the destination. When there is the instruction going from false to true, when the instruction goes from false to true, this file transfers the data from the sequencer file to the destination. It contains the data that will be transferred to the destination. Each word in the file represents a position. There is a particular position of the file, that is whether it is in first position, second position, or the data that we want to sequence or transfer to the destination is in the 5th position, that is mentioned by the position. Mask is the bit pattern through which the sequencer instruction moves source data to the destination address. Mask pattern, a 1 passes value while a 0 blocks the data flow. Mask register or file name is used when you want to change the mask pattern under program control. If you are using a H behind the parameter, that indicates the hexadecimal number. If a B is used behind the binary, then it indicates the binary number. If it is nothing is used in the data, right, in the mask data, that means it is indicating the decimal number. That is the mask register of file name is the one which we want to change the mask pattern under program control. That is, whatever is the mask pattern, that can be changed. And in the mask pattern, the mask data, if it is preceded by H, that means it is a hexadecimal number. If the mask data is preceded by B, the letter B, then it means the mask data is a binary number. If there is nothing behind the that is a mask data, that means it is a decimal number. Source is the address of the input word or file from which the SQC and SQL instruction obtains data for comparison or input to its sequencer file. The source is nothing but from where we are transferring the data or moving the data or shifting the data, that is called as the source. And destination is the address of the output word or the file to which the SQO moves the data from its sequencer file. The input file, the main file from which we are moving the data into a sequence file, that is a source file. And where we are actually transferring the data, shifting the data, right, that is called as the destination. Is the address of the output word or file to which the SQO is sequence output instruction, moves the data from its sequencer file. So there are two operations here. One operation is moving the data from the source into the sequence file. Okay, this is called as loading. Then another operation is moving the data from the, that is the sequence file, to the destination. This is unloading. Okay, so there are two operations. One is moving the data from the source file into the sequence file, then moving the data from the sequence file into the output file. This control parameter, as we are seeing in this here, we are discussing about all this: file, mask, destination, control, length and position of the sequencer output block, SQO block. Control is the address that contains the parameters with control information for the instruction. The control register of the control data, it consists of the status data, the length data and the position data. The status data, status about the data what we are transferring, status about that. The length of the data, how much length data it is, whether it is of 4 bytes or 4 words, or whether it is of 5 words or 8 words or 10 words, that is given by the length. And the position gives the position of the file, which position data we are transferring from source to destination, that is given by the position in the file. Then we also have the enable and done bit, as we can see in this block, enable bit and the done bit. The enable bit is set by false to true rung transition and indicates that the instruction is enabled. It follows the rung condition. The enable bit is set by false to true transition of the rung. When the ladder rung becomes false to true, the enable bit will be set, which executes the sequencer instructions. Then once the sequencer instruction is executed, then the done bit will be set. Done bit will be set once the sequencer instruction completes its execution. On the next false to true transition of the rung, when the done bit is set, the position pointer is reset to 1, which indicates that the first position data is being moved from source to destination. If there is any negative data, any negative position value or negative or zero length value, then that is indicated by the error bit. The error bit, that is bit number 11 in the, that is control register, in the control register, it is meant to indicate that the data is negative, which is an error condition. Then length of the data, it is the number of steps of the sequencer file starting at position 1. Position 0 is the startup position. The length is how much words we are moving or how many bytes we are moving from source to destination. That is giving the length of the data. The instruction resets or wraps to position 1 at each cycle completion. After the completion of moving the data from source to destination, the instruction resets or makes the data to be placed at position 1, okay, which indicates that data has been moved from source to destination. Position, it indicates a step that is desired to start the sequencer instruction. Once we want to start the sequencer instruction, the position is the one which indicates from which position we want to start the data shifting operation or the data sequencing operation. The position is the word location or step in the sequencer file from which the instruction moves data. This is one of the example of the sequencer instructions. SQO or sequencer output. When the input switch is closed, examine if closed instruction, this becomes true. Sequencer output instruction. Here, as we can see in the below figure here, below diagram, the data is being moved from B3 colon 0 into the destination O colon 2. Right? This is the sequencing operation. First, we are moving 1 0 0 0 0 1 into the destination O colon 2. This is B3 colon 0 as a source. Then mask bits are 001 FH. Destination is O colon 2. Control is R6 colon 0. This is the control register which stores the status information, position information, right? Status information, position information, and the length information. So then under that control, we have the length, the how many data we are moving from source to destination, that is being provided by the length. And position is the position, that is 1. Here this is the position 1 from where we are moving the data from position 1 into the destination. This is how we are moving the sequencer instructions. Then we have the sequencer programs. The next example, the switch is closed, and the switch is closed, that is the closed condition T4 colon 0 slash DN. This is here it is 0 condition because the done bit is not 1 still the done bit is not 1. So this is the 0 condition here. So when it is activated, the timer 4 colon 1, this starts to operate. The accumulated bit, it moves from 0 1 to up till 3. Once it becomes 3, accumulated value becomes equal to preset value, the done bit will become high. The done bit when it becomes high, T4 colon 0 slash DN, this becomes 1. And then the SQO instruction, sequencer output instruction, will start to work. Right? And this sequencer output instruction, what it is doing, it is transferring the data from the B3 colon 0, from the B3 colon 0, that is a source file, into a destination file O colon 2. Fine. I hope everyone are following, yes friends. Yes. The mask bits are FF, FFH. Then control is R6 colon 0. This is the control which holds the status information. And then we have the length, that is 8 data are transferred. And then position is 0. This is a 0 position initially. And as we go on moving the data from 0 position to destination, right? Then the next position is incremented. It will become 1. The position number 1. Then next it goes to position number 2, 3, like this up till position number 8. There, that is how it is transferring the data from the, that is from the source B3 colon 0 to destination O colon 2. And whatever the data is being moved into the destination, that is indicated by the LEDs, output LEDs, which are at O colon 2, or the output lamps which are at O colon 2. Then we will be studying the topic which is called as bit shift register. It is a shift register, as the name indicates. It is meant to shift the data, either to shift the data in the left direction or in the right direction. That is indicated by the bit shift register, or that is the function of the bit shift register. A bit shift register is a register that allows the shifting of bits through a single register or group of registers. The bit shift register shifts bits serially from bit to bit through an array in an orderly fashion. This bit shift register, it shifts the bits serially from bit to bit. It may be either from right to left or left to right, or it may be wrap up. Wrap up means there is movement from left to right or right to left direction, and again coming back to the same original position. I will show the diagram of that, then you'll understand it, what is meant by wrap up shifting. This is the bit shift register. Here we have the data which is moving into the right side direction. Okay, that is the bit, that is 1, it is shifted here, 1 or 0. It is the most significant bit. We are shifting the bits in the right direction. Okay, here it is, this is called the BSR register, or the bit shift right register. Then we have the bit shift left register. We are moving the data into the LSP position, and we are shifting the data in the left side direction. That is a bit shift left register. That means first, suppose if you are entering 0 here, that is 0 is moved. Then this bit which is there in this position will be moved to the next left position. This bit which is already there here, this will be moved to next position, like this. And the last bit will be moved out of the BSL register. And wrap up or circulating shift register means here we are moving the data from the that is in the from right to left we are moving the data. Okay, from right to left, that is here, that is a movement in the left side direction. The LSB bit is moved to the next higher position, then the next bit is moved to the next higher position, and so on. Then this will be coming back and it will be entered into the LSB position. It will be coming back and it will be moved to the LSB position. This is how it is called as a wrap around or circulating shift register. There are two bit shift instructions: bit shift left, which shifts bit status from a lower address number to a higher address number through a data file, and bit shift right, which shifts data from a higher address number to a lower address number through a data file. There are some PLCs providing a circulating shift register function or a wrap around shift register or circulating shift register, right, in which there is a circulation of data from left to right, again back to input, again left to right, like that, or right to left, again back to input, and again right to left. To program a bit shift instruction, we need the processor with the following information. If we want to perform the bit shift operation, then the following information is required. Let us see what are these details. First is the file information, that is the address of the bit array you want to manipulate. The address of the bit array that we want to manipulate or shift, that address is called as the file. It is a 3-word element that consists of the status word, the length, and the position. This file consists of the status information, the length information, and the position information. Fine. Bit address is the address of the source bit. The instruction inserts the status of this bit in either the first bit position for the BSL instruction or the last bit position for the BSR instruction in the array. So this bit address is the address of the source bit. This instruction inserts the status of this bit in either the first bit position for the BSL instruction. The first bit is inserted into the LSB position, and if it is a right shift, then the first bit is inserted in the MSB position, the bit we want to shift. That is nothing but that address of that bit is nothing but the bit address. Length, it indicates the number of bits to be shifted or the file length in bits. The status bits of the control word are the enable bit, done bit, error bit, and the unload bits. Functions of these is summarized as follows. The same as we discussed for the, that is sequencing operation, the functions of these are almost same as that of the sequencing registers for the bit shift register, that is enable, done, error, and unload bits. Enable bit, this is used to indicate that the bit shift register is enabled for its operation. Then once the shifting operation is completed, done bit will become high. Suppose if you want to shift one more data, then the data which has shifted should be unloaded first, and then only we can shift the data into that register. Is it not? Because the data has been loaded into the shift register. If we want to shift a new data, that data has to be unloaded and then it has to be shifted inside. Error bit, the error bit is set to 1 when the instruction has written error. If there is an error condition, that means the error bit is 1. Tell me friends, when the error bit will be 1? The error bit will be 1 if the data is a negative number. If the value that we are shifting is a negative number, that time the error bit or ER bit will be set to 1, right? Then unload bit, the unload bit's status is controlled by shifting of the last bit of the file into the unload bit when the instruction is executed. The unload bit status is controlled by shifting of the last bit of the file. The last bit of the file, when it is shifted, that is nothing but the unload bit. This is when the instruction is executed and it is under completion, the last bit will be shifted out, and that is called as the unload bit. It is a bit location into which the status from the last bit in the file shifts when the instruction goes from false to true. The last bit of the file, when it is shifted, that bit is called as the unload bit. Then we have the word shift operations. These are the bit shift registers which are meant to shift individual bits. Right? Then similarly, we have the word shift operations to shift the data word by word. Okay, in bit shift operations, what happens? The data is shifted bit by bit. But in word shift operations, one entire word, maybe 16 bits, that entire word is shifted from one source location to another location. That is from source to destination. The first in first out instructions are word shift operations that are similar to bit shift operations. It is similar to the bit shift operation in principle, but there in bit shift operation, the bit shifting takes place bit by bit, whereas in word shift operation, the shifting will take place word by word. Word shifting provides a simpler method of loading and unloading data into a file, usually called the stack. Here, the data is loaded and unloaded, right, into the file, and that file is called as a stack here. Stack is nothing but it is a memory or a file where we are loading the data and we are unloading the data from the stack or from the file. A bit shift register operates synchronously or in a serial fashion, as the information is to be shifted one bit at a time within a word or the words. So this operation in the bit shift register, it is called as synchronous operation because the data shifting takes place bit by bit. For every bit shifted in, one bit is shifted out, and data entered in a bit shift register must be shifted into the length of the register, one position per shift pulse, because they are available to shift out. Whatever data we are shifting in, that is shifting process will take place with the length of the register. So we cannot shift more than that, correct? Whatever is the length of the register, that is the maximum that we can shift into that register. A FIFO function operates asynchronously. Here the bit shifting operation is called as synchronous operation, whereas the word shifting operation is called as asynchronous operation. The difference is simple, that is in bit shift operation the shifting will take place bit by bit, whereas in word shift operation the shifting will take place word by word. Rather than shifting bits of information within a word, it shifts the data from a complete word onto a file or a stack. Unlike the bit shift register, two separate shift pulses are required. Here in the word shift operation, two pulses are required to shift the data. Clock pulses. Clock pulse is nothing but pulse, digital pulse which has 0 and 1 as compared to the analog value. We have seen in our previous models what is meant by analog signal and what is digital signal. Analog signal is a continuous signal, whereas digital signal, it is nothing but it has only two states, either 0 or 1. This word shift operation, it requires two shift pulses, one pulse to shift the data into the file, that is loading operation, another one to shift the data out of the file, that is unloading operation. These two shift pulses operate independently, asynchronously of each other. It is loading operation is different and unloading operation is different. Hence it is called as asynchronous operation. The FFL and FFU instructions are used in pairs. That is the file word, okay, first in first out, that is a loading file loading operation, and that is FF unloading operation, okay, in the FIFO memory or in the FIFO stack. They are used in pairs. The FFL loads logic words into a user created file called as a FIFO stack. The user will be creating a memory, he will be using the memory location, and the whatever data we want to store, that is stored or loaded into that stack memory, or it is the FIFO memory. That is called as a loading operation. Then unloading operation means we are removing the data from the file, or we are unloading the data from the file, that is called as the unload operation. The first word entered is the first word out. The SLC 500 FIFO load instruction is shown in figure 7. The loading instruction is shown in the figure 7. The parameters that are required to be entered in the instruction are as follows. Source file. The source is nothing but the word address from which the data are entered into the FIFO file. It's almost the same discussion that we did for the sequencer registers and the bit shift operations. That is, source is the word address from which the data are entered into the FIFO file. That is the input from where we are entering the data into the FIFO file or in the stack memory, that is called as the source. FIFO is the address of the file in which the data is entered. The address must start with the hash symbol. The address of the file in which the data is entered, that is called the FIFO memory or the stack memory. The full form of FIFO is first in first out. I'll come to that. That is, suppose if we are placing the books on a desk, then when we are placing the books on a desk, it is we are placing one above the another, and the book which you have placed last, that we are taking it first. So this is called as the last in first out, right? That is, the books are placed on the desk one above the another, but when removing the desk, the last book is taken out first. This is called last in first out. Okay, then first in first out means the books when we are placing, first in, whatever book we have placed at the bottom, the first book, if you are removing it out first, then that is called as the first in first out. We are placing the books one above the another, right? We go on placing them. Say there are around about 8 books. We place these 8 books, right? And the first book that we have placed, that is at the bottommost position, that we are removing out first. This is called as first in first out. Control, it is a file address of the control structure. The status bits, stack length and position are stored in this control register. Length is file length in words. What is the length of the file? That is nothing but given by the length. It specifies the maximum number of words in the stack. Position is the next available location where the instruction loads the data into the stack. Status bits of the control word are enable bit, done bit and the empty bits. I hope everyone are following here. Yes. Their functions can be summarized like this. Enable bit, the enable bit follows the instruction's status and is set to 1 when the instruction is true. When the instruction becomes true or when the ladder rung becomes true, when the word shift FIFO instruction, on the word shift instruction, when it is activated, the enable bit will be set. Then once the word shift operation completes its execution, the done bit will be made equal to 1. When the done bit is set, the FIFO is full and does not accept any more data. Also, data in the FIFO file are not overwritten when the instruction goes from false to true. If the instruction has written the data into the file, suppose if you want to load the data, first the data has to be unloaded. Then only we can store one more new data into the FIFO file. Otherwise, it cannot be stored. Empty bit, EM bit, the empty bit is set to 1 and all the data have been unloaded from the FIFO file. When all the data on all the words has been unloaded, then that is called as the, or that makes the empty bit to be set to 1. FIFO load, FFL, source, FIFO, control, length and position. We have the FIFO load, source, FIFO, control, length and position. So these are the various parameters of the FFL, FIFO load instruction. That is what we have discussed by now. What is meant by source? That it is the source address of the source from which we are, that is performing the shifting operation, word shifting operation into the destination. Then we have the FIFO, that is the location from where we are moving or shifting in first in first out direction. Control, it contains the status information. Length is how many words we are shifting from source to destination, word by word. All the bits of the word are shifted at a stretch at one time. That is the difference between bit shift and word shift. Then position is from which position to which position we are shifting. Enable bit is 1 when the instruction is executed. Then done bit, once it becomes 1, then the operation is completed. And the empty bit when it is set, what will happen? What is it indicating? It indicates that the unloading operation has been completed. And this is the FFU, that is FIFO unload. Here again the parameters are same, FIFO, destination, control, length and position. We have the done bit, empty bit and enable bit. Again the same parameters as that of the FFL, FIFO load. Parameters are same, their operation also remains same, except here FIFO load operation is loading the data into the FIFO, whereas FIFO unload is unloading the data from the FIFO. Right? The opposite principle, where the last data to be stored or the first to be retrieved, is known as LIFO, last in first out. For this is FIFO, that is first in first out. Then LIFO is last in first out. The LIFO instruction inverts the order of the data it receives by outputting the last data received first and the first data received last. That's what example I have given. The stack memory, it is for example, if it is first in first out, we are keeping the books on the desk, we are placing the books on the desk. If the first book that we have placed, if you are removing it first, and is called as the first in first out. If the last book that is placed on the desk, if you are removing it first, then it is called as last in first out. A useful analog is a pile of work on your desk. A new work arrives, you drop it on the top of the stack. If your stack is LIFO, you pick up your next job from the top of the file. So in today's class, students, we have discussed about sequencing and bit shifting operations. We have started with the sequencing operations, starting with the mechanical cam operated sequencer. It's a mechanical cam operated sequencer. We have discussed the working of the mechanical cam operated sequencer. We have also discussed the operation of mechanical drum operated sequencer switch. Then later we moved on to the sequencer instructions, where we discussed about PLC sequencer instructions, which have replaced the mechanical drum sequencer instructions because of their high flexibility. Then Allen Bradley sequencer commands such as SQO sequencer output, SQI sequencer input, SQC sequencer compare, SQL sequencer load. Okay. Then what is a sequencer output instruction, SQO? We have discussed the working of this block and its various parameters such as file, mask, destination, control, length and position, and also the enable and done bits. We have taken few examples. These examples such as sequencer instructions. Okay, we have discussed how the shifting takes place from the source to destination. Then one more example we have discussed on the sequencer program, which is a combination of the timer and the SQO instruction. Then later we have discussed about bit shift registers. What are bit shift registers? How they perform the shifting of bits? What is bit shift left? What is bit shift right? And what is wrap around or circulating shift register? And the various parameters of the bit shift register such as file, bit address, length, enable bit, done bit, error bit, unload bit, UL. Then word shift operations. As compared to bit shift operations, the word shift operations are meant to shift the word by word. Okay. Here we have particularly discussed in detail about the FIFO instructions, first in first out instructions, wherein the first data which is moved inside the file, that is removed first, or that is unloaded first, first in first out. Then FFL and FFU. FFL loads logic words into the FIFO stack, and FFU instruction unload the words from the FIFO stack. Then we have the various parameters of the word shift operation such as source, FIFO, control, length, position. Almost these parameters are similar for the sequencing operation, for the bit shift operation, and also for the word shift operations. The functions of the enable bit, done bit, empty bit. Then the block of word shift operation, that is FIFO load, FFL instruction. Then a word shift operation, FIFO unload. Okay. These blocks we have discussed considering their parameters, various parameters. Fine. Then the opposite principle, that is LIFO, last in first out. FIFO is first in first out, LIFO is last in first out. That is, if you are placing the books on the desk, the last book which is placed is removed first. That is the last in first out concept. Okay. So that's all for today's class, students. If you have any queries, any questions, any doubts to be asked on today's discussion, you can ask me so that I'll be able to answer to your doubts and clarify your doubts. Thank you.